Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back here for Thursday night eviction number 1. We've got a recap of AI Arena, and the first player voted out of Big Brother 26. It ends up being Matt, and we will react to all of that and much more here tonight with you. And of course, back with us, Taran Armstrong. Taran, how are you?
I'm excited, Rob. We had it was an interesting episode, but I think a pretty good one overall. And tomorrow we're gonna be talking to Matt.
Yes.
Yes, which will push the update to noon tomorrow. Just so everyone knows, the live feed update tomorrow at noon.
Okay, yeah. So Taran and I will get the chance to speak with Matt on his first morning out of the house. So make sure you're subscribed to hear our interview with Matt, and then check out the live feed update 1 hour later. Okay, back with us, I believe for the first time since the draft, it's Aman Adwin. Aman, how are you?
I am fantastic, Rob. This has been such a fun ride so far. I'm like still kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, but then I realized that the shoe dropped first when they got rid of the flashback. So I'm just taking what I can get at this point, and I'm having a pretty good time. So I'm excited to be back and here for the first eviction, baby.
First eviction, baby. It's a big night, and of course, coming off of an appearance on the roundtable this week, of course, the great Maggie Morgan. Maggie, how are you?
Rob, I'm so good. When Big Brother is good, it is so good. And there's just nothing like it. I really mean it. Out of all of these stupid shows that we watch, good Big Brother is the best of them all. And what a week we've had.
What a week. Yeah, I mean, it is wild. We think about it. The show has only been on for 8 days, and it's been a lot. For Taran, it's been 84 years, maybe, that since Big Brother 26 kicked off, but we've had a lot. I will say, ultimately, probably a better first half of the episode than the second half of the episode.
I completely disagree.
Okay, good. Happy to talk about it, because ultimately we had Kimo wins the AI Arena. Taran, you had to have been happy with the comp, right?
Yes, it was exactly, I think, what we hoped for. We saw a preview of it earlier today. Obviously, like, the way that these competitions can sometimes work is that the physical component is much more important than the mental component. I think we very clearly saw that that was not the case with this competition. It was very difficult, and the results showed that. And so what a fun one.
Okay, we'll talk more about it here tonight and also take your questions here in the chat. But ultimately, we end up with Matt and Kenny on the block. And does anybody even want to stay in the Big Brother house? Come on, you guys. Fight for it, losers.
I mean, I was at least pleased with the fact that we got that DR from McKenzie stating how fired up he was. After that little bout with Angela, because the overarching narrative for the majority of the week was that he was just like, okay, you know what? Like, if I have to follow my sword for Matt, it's fine. I'm fine to go back to Boston and see my beautiful wife and beautiful family. I was like, no, wake up. Like, you are on the show, buddy. Like, we don't, it doesn't hit the way that I feel like most people feel like it sounds when they say stuff like that. Like, I have a good life outside, I'll be okay. No, I don't care about your good life outside. I care about your bad life in the Big Brother house.
Right.
So I want to see the struggle.
Also, nobody has ever been like, I need to go home because I miss my family when they're doing well at Big Brother. Like, it's only when they're down on their luck that they're suddenly like, you know what? Got to go back to the wife and kids. Like, okay, sorry. Well, if you win HOH next week and suddenly you're in all the alliances and you see a path to winning and it's fun again, guess who's not going to be saying that? Like, I hate that excuse just because it's like, just say it. Like, you're bummed out that you're doing bad, Just say that. And hey, not saying I could do any better. I don't know. I'm not in there, but like, you're not missing your wife. You're bummed out that you're on the block and you feel defeated.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with the eviction of Matt, who ends up sort of like being at the center of all of the drama here. Although this was the expected result if Matt ultimately sat on one of the chairs when they got to vote. Taran, how does the house change after this?
After Matt leaves,
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of doesn't. Like that's kind of what the episodes missed, is that this was status quo. This was what they all wanted from the start. The entire first half of this episode was entirely fabricated in terms of like, repeating the events of what was happening in the game. From the second, from even before Matt was nominated, they all wanted Matt out, or at least the vast majority of them did. And so Matt leaving means that they succeeded and they will continue on with pretty much all of their plans, apart from Lisa, Leah, and McKenzie, who did not know.
Sure, but Taran, they at least did include all the DRs from all the people being like, well, yeah, if Matt's on the block, you vote him out. Like, what do you mean he has the votes? And they just didn't show the parts where they all got together and they're like, we're not voting for him, right? Like, at least that was, they weren't just like, oh, we love Matt, we're going to keep him. Like, I'm totally loyal to the barbershop. At least they included those DRs of people being like, well, I don't want to stick out right now, because that is sort of the tone of the house right now, right?
Well, I don't think so. I think that all of them, or at least there are a couple that are like, I want to vote with the house. And the irony is that those people were the ones that either did vote for Matt to stay or came close to voting for Matt to stay. Those diary rooms to me felt like the absolute bare minimum that they felt like they could get away with in terms of showing why Matt left. Because it wasn't like, oh, well, I guess if he's on the block, you should vote him out. It was like, no, we actively want him out. We campaigned to make sure he went on the block. We don't like the way that he plays the game, the way that he interacts with us. And the BS alliance is BS and has been from the start. There's a very funny segment that they could have with that, and yet they chose to play it straight, which is wild to me.
I thought
go ahead, Aman.
I was just gonna say, I really thought that he was probably gonna end up staying, only because I thought there was gonna be like some shenanigans from production in terms of that AI comp, because the comp I really liked, but we're not counting how many times those people really show up. I feel like production could have said whatever answer is what Matt said was going to be the right answer, because that edit was so like, oh my god, look at the showmanship between the two.
Yeah, this is a good point, Aman. I really was wondering last night, were we going to get a very like heavy like thumb on the scale comp for Matt to ultimately win here? Not only was the comp pretty fair, they also didn't just say, I don't remember who he ultimately said, it was T-Core, I think, that was the most faces. They played it straight. So good job to production.
Rob, people would be like screenshotting every frame and counting to make sure.
That's true.
Flashbacks.
That's true. Yeah. But Helen was still pushed, Yeah. They know.
She was.
Yeah. And then so did Matt know? Was Matt blindsided?
So last night he did sort of like be like, oh man, theoretically this could be my last night in the house. And did a little more like campaigning, like starting to feel actually nervous, like reality's actually coming. So I bet if you asked him, he'd be like, I had a feeling. But I do not believe he knew.
Yeah. Nobody had a better night. Yeah.
Like if he knew, like there wouldn't have been an 8-3 vote. Like Lisa would not have voted for Matt to stay. Lisa was outright told that people were voting Matt out. She just didn't believe it. And so she ends up on the wrong side of the vote, despite being the person who wanted the most to be on the right side of the vote.
Maggie, nobody had a better night tonight than the guy that McKenzie is in a situationship with. That guy is like dumping Gatorade on his head tonight. Comes out the big winner from tonight's episode, right?
Absolutely. Also, I saw like a clip from the live feeds on Twitter of Matt being like, so like talking to McKenzie, and he was like, so like after this is over, like we're gonna hang out, right? And she was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna hang out with everybody from the house. And he was like, what? Like, I'm talking about us. And she's like, oh, well, you know, like I like everybody. So I think that maybe McKenzie, I don't know how far this MJ Matt thing is going
She's
to go.
playing hard to get.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I really couldn't tell. It was like, no wonder dating in my age group is so hard, because even I was confused about what McKenzie really wanted. Because in the DR, she's like, oh, well, you know, my walls are coming down. Like, he just needs to keep going. Like, and it's fine. But like on screen, she's like, and on feed, she's like, so I'm
She
like, what is it?
she
So
literally was like, please take this as a challenge, Matt. Like I think she wants the pursual.
Oh man, well, I mean,
She
I
wants
don't
to
know,
be
Rob.
chased.
Maybe the guy that's out here for him, I don't know if this is a win for him, because like if you're acting that friendly with someone, that I'm probably assuming I'm a better guy than, like, you can keep his friendly.
Coming into the house, her whole package was like, yeah, I'm single. Like, I'm hoping to meet a guy here. Like, is he 6'5"?
It's like, is the other one a joke to you? Is he not 6'5"? Is he like short and pale, not tall, dark, and handsome? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. We got to see a little bit of the workings of AI Arena and how it goes. Interestingly, it seems like that the contestants are not able to watch AI Arena, and they are just basically waiting to see the reaction on this. I thought that was a little interesting. Taran, are you surprised they didn't let them watch it like on the spy screen?
I think it was so much better that they didn't, because getting to see their genuine reactions to Matt's on the block still. Let's go!
Yeah.
Like full on celebration as Matt walks down the stairs and joins them.
That was all
so
for
good.
Matt. That wasn't a pro Kimo or a little pro
That's what they
Kimo?
will say it is, but
Yes.
yes, that was definitely for the fact that Matt was still on the block.
Yeah.
Mike Bloom tweeted and was like, Angela looks like a contestant on Let's Make a Deal. And she did. She was like, woo! Like, she was
Are you sure this
so
wasn't a
excited.
clip of Angela on Let's Make a Deal?
No, because wasn't she on Prices Right?
She was on Let's Make a Deal, and she won.
Yeah. Oh, I thought she was on Prices Right. Oh,
She
my
was
goodness.
also on
She's
Prices
too many-
Right and lost.
Oh my gosh, Angela, she's everywhere. And
She's everywhere. Yeah.
especially in my heart. Rob, you know. You know.
Yeah. Oh no.
We're up.
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled for Angela here tonight, for her to be able to get her target out. So it's a great night for Angela, and hopefully, Taran, do you feel like that frames the week for her differently? Of like, okay, she put Matt up on the block. She used or with the veto. He went home. Like, does she come away with like a little bit like able to save face after this first HOH week?
I mean, I don't know about saving face. It's certainly better for her that Matt's not in the game. He was going to be gunning for her. But what I can tell you, Rob, is that in Angela's head right now, she's thinking, I did it. Matt had the whole house, and my call out worked. I got crazy eyes out of the house. That was all me. That was
power.
my high budget performance.
Yeah. You just keep telling yourself that. You just keep watching that movie, Angela. That'll be great.
I saw the funniest meme. Somebody tweeted it last night, and it's a still from SpongeBob in the episode where he's trying to hunt down the maniac. And it says wanted maniac behind him, and it's a photo of him. And they said, this is Angela in the house this week. And like, yes, she is just so it's this runaway train that she just can't seem to grasp onto. And she's not looking left to right to realize that she is the one who is causing all of this for herself. It's so brilliant. It's chef's kiss perfect.
And I don't know, Rob, like, back to your question, I don't know if like this helps her in any way. I mean, I feel like a lot of the other house guests aren't really going to attribute this to Angela. They're just going to attribute to them working around Angela to still make this happen. So yeah, I mean, it's great that she got her target out and everything, but like the stink of I need to walk around eggshells around this person, I don't think that really ever is going to go away with her. I mean, she blew up with Matt, she blew up with Kenny. It's like, who's next?
Yeah.
Like, so
Okay.
I just feel like from this point forward, they're going to try to, like, you know, involve her, but only to a certain extent.
let's bring in the Angela and Kenny of it all, because I think that that'll set us up for then Kenny and Matt on the block together. And this was the clip that was from today that was going around about, okay, Angela's like, all right, Kenny, it's go time. I'm counting on you to kick his butt. And he's like, nah, I can't. That's my guy.
It was just so disingenuous on her part because you put him up in the first place. So I was so glad that Kenny was like, why would I want to talk to you about this? I'm up here because you did this. And the fact that like you were rooting for him to go home originally before the whole Matt thing, like he was your number one target. He was the house's target. And now you're like, come on, Kenny. I know I said a lot of bad crap about you before, but it's fine. You need to beat this guy.
Well, we saw that at least Kenny was genuine by his embrace with Matt when it was the two of them on the block.
Yeah. Oh no. He wasn't fooling around. But we saw Angela really got into it with Kenny. And she was furious with him, Taran, that he had no desire to fight in the arena.
Kenny, he's not your son.
Yeah. I love that.
He's not your son. Kenny was so offended by that. That was my favorite part, was Kenny being like, I can't believe she disrespected me by saying that he's not my son, which he isn't, but he is the son of somebody I respect. And I don't know that person, but I do respect them because they're also a cop.
Wait, you couldn't write that.
No.
Follow
Angela
the
could not
logic.
have
Where's
prepared
the
a call
lie?
out like that.
Yeah.
I mean, this week has been Shakespeare.
Yeah.
It's been, I'm telling you, it doesn't get any better than this.
I know.
This is the peak.
Isn't it
of
wild
week
that
one.
both of Matt's parents have been such a big part of this week one? Both his mom and his dad have been referenced constantly.
Whose parents are going to be the stars of next week?
Maybe it
I
just
don't
will
know.
be parents. Brooklyn
Oh.
versus Angela.
Yeah, the married moms.
Oh.
For sure. Yeah. Quinn was great during that. He had some really fun lines about that.
He's known him for a week. A week.
It's always so sobering. It's so sobering when we get these moments in Big Brother or Survivor or any reality competition show where you place people for the first time in an enclosed environment together and they've grown so close to the fact that you're willing to give up. It's like, it's been 7 whole days. Not even. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing here? Come on.
And what they didn't even show in the episode is that like 2 days prior, Matt was actively campaigning for Kenny to be the one voted out. Like they didn't even have a good, close relationship. It was literally just Kenny assuming that they had a connection, I guess, because of the weird, like, Game of Thrones-esque family tree that they followed.
But like, how was Matt to know that Kenny respected Matt's father because he was a cop? He's not a cop to everybody in the
That's
house,
true.
right? Like, so how was Matt to even know?
He didn't say he was a food truck driver. Yeah.
Exactly. How
Yeah.
was Matt? It's just like his private feelings
Okay.
about Matt's parents.
So I get it that Kenny felt some type of way about Matt, but it seemed like it was very much reciprocated by Matt when they both sat in each other's arms on the nomination chairs. I've never seen a scene like that.
It eventually became reciprocated in the sense that once Kenny said he wanted to give up his game for Matt, Matt was like, "Oh, I guess I do like him."
Yeah.
I mean, getting yelled at by Angela, it brings people together. I mean, what can I tell you? You
Yeah.
know?
All right. So after the AI arena, I thought this was so embarrassing for Kenny and for Matt. When they came back into the house, Julia's like, all right, everybody, this is your time. And maybe they didn't know that this was like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. But they just stood there and gave their speeches that they had planned to the whole house. Like there's no urgency, nothing.
This is on production, I think.
Sure.
Because they clearly weren't prepped for what this would be. And also, the idea, like, listen, I'm all for it. Make this like a double eviction, have them go do one-on-ones in rooms. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. But to say you have 60 seconds to go pull people into rooms based to talk about a vote that people have prepared for. It's not, as Kimo pointed out, it's not a million different options. It's only 3.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It would take somebody 30 seconds to grab someone and walk to a room, and then another 30 seconds to walk back to the living room. So, like, there's no time to actually do what they want them to. I think this was just poorly planned from production.
It was very awkward.
Yeah, they should have put a commercial break in there. And then, we could have seen them whispering and chatting and all of that.
Yeah, it felt like they were trying to manufacture the energy of like a double eviction where they ought, like, by instinct, that you don't have a lot of time because we've done this before. But they don't really necessarily know what's going on. They're just like, oh, okay, we lost. I already know that I'm going to have time to talk to you guys during the 60 seconds of each of our speeches. So why would I spend this time? And plus, you guys are all cheering. It's like the only way they could have twisted the knife is like if they had waited. They made them wait to figure out who won the comp until all 3 of them were back in the living room. Then it would have been like a whole like, wow, y'all really want me gone. This is crazy.
Not to mention the fact that like the mascot costumes were acting as like linebackers blocking half the house from access in the first place.
Yes, Taran. I was like, oh my gosh, production totally like shot themselves in the foot here. We have no sight lines, like none. They're literally linebackers. It's half the set. It's covering the cameras. It was crazy.
I kind of loved it, yo. I mean, this is definitely one of those clips that you put on Twitter and you're like, this is the show that I enjoy. You just have 2 floppy disks running around the living room, everyone else jumping up and down, hugging one another, 2 people looking dejected in the corner.
Cut to the fish tank for like 30 seconds.
Oh, and also, speaking of people just standing there, what the hell was Joseph doing in the hallway?
Yeah.
That was so embarrassing. Why?
He was really feeling himself like I've never seen nobody feel themselves before. It was like he'd seen himself for the first time. Like
he was waiting for them to tell him that he was able to leave.
But why was he not able to leave?
You think that's what it was? Because I thought he was like being like irreverent of like, oh, I'm just gonna stay here during the live show.
I don't think
very
so.
much.
Is there like a mic in there? Is there a mic in that room to tell them like, hey, what are you doing? Keep it moving. Because if not, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And Julie didn't say, because usually Julie will come on and be like, Joseph, and she just went. I thought that she was gonna read the votes, and Joseph would still
it was like
be in
a
that
walk
hallway.
across the room.
So did I. I was like, is he trying to have like an iconic moment? Is he trying to come after the votes are read? Like, I was like,
yeah,
because he themes the type. He does.
Yes. First live show of the season. We're working the kinks out also. An hour earlier. Everybody's a little thrown off, I guess, for live show number 1. I think also the pacing was very different here with the AI arena of that they ended the show on the interview with Matt. I was a little worried they weren't going to be able to get it into this episode. So a lot of stuff. We'll see if in week 2 they end up sorting some of this stuff out. But definitely some wild moments from eviction number 1.
We also we need to bring back goodbye messages. Like, I get that we're cutting for time here and there, but
you have to watch them on Instagram, Taran.
It's a part of the show. I think a necessary part of the show. They provide closure on like the various relationships, and let's be very honest with ourselves. We needed Angela's goodbye message to Matt in our lives, and now it's not there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, easy to track down tomorrow and see what she said. Anybody else that we're especially interested to see what they said to Matt? Do you think Kenny cried?
Probably.
Maybe. I just feel like I would rather see goodbye messages than whatever this is.
Love one another.
She brought Matt in. He's I think the first house guest to help close out the show. But like Taylor is saying, there's no speaker in that hallway. It's the one spot that production can't communicate with you. So maybe there was some legitimate miscommunication there with Joseph. All right, let's talk about. We had those speeches.
I'm sorry, but just Joseph having to run out of the diary room hallway and get past the linebacker costumes, like just leaping through to get back as Julie's like reading the vote count was one of the best live eviction moments.
I love Big Brother.
I think RHAP, you guys did like if I'm not mistaken, it was years ago. You guys did like a crazy or weirdest or most awkward Julie Chen moment.
Wow, that's a deep pull, Aman. Yes.
And so it's been quite some time. This is definitely going to get added to that list because it was weird.
Added to the list. What, throwing it to the end of the show with Matt?
Yeah, for sure. Like,
yeah.
I just felt like the whole thing was just a little awkward.
I think that it came out of that Matt told the story about Matt's mom about how he talked about how his mom came to this country in 1993, and Julie Chen was one of the first women that she saw, and it was very impactful. But I looked on Wikipedia. I don't know if the math is mathing on that story.
Oh, no, Rob, don't do this. Don't do his mom.
I'm not saying that. Look, I'm sure Julie Chen was a very impactful figure for Matt's mom. But I think that Julie, unless that she was like way down the rabbit hole, I think that Julie Chen, I think, was like a news intern in 1993. Didn't really rise to national prominence till like 98, 99.
I think that's fair. Maybe
the story is maybe more vibes than actually
probably more vibes than actual timeline. That's probably when he got a little older, he was able to realize that's like what was going on with Julie Chen and his mom. So
he may also just be bad at math.
Yeah. Unless his mom knew her personally.
Hey, you never know.
Also,
like Julie did, but
I feel like a lot of Matt's stories are just kind of vibes. Like Matt's, you know what I mean? So I think that we can just chalk that one up to vibes. Also, the fact that like Julie is just so Chen-bot. Like she couldn't even, when he said that, she had to be like, yes, an audience for context. What he's saying is his mother is Filipino and she's a fellow Asian like me. I was like, Julie, can't you just be like, wow,
I was
how
just
sweet.
Like, just say thank you. Just say thank you. I mean, I'm glad in a way. I mean, maybe it's good that she did provide a little context because I don't necessarily know if everyone is like remembering that Matt is half white, half Filipino. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they are.
The casual audience certainly does not. So it probably was necessary.
It probably went right over their heads. But still, even after the fact, you could have at least been, that's very kind of you to say thank you. Like, I don't understand why it had to be this.
And then he gets to say love one another.
I think that was her way of making it up to him because she was like, oops, I didn't like acknowledge that in the way maybe I should have. So.
Well, Rob, I mean, his speech it was amazing to her.
That sounded biblical to me, just saying.
Very biblical. So
what did he say that was biblical?
I think the forgiveness part, that I'll forgive you regardless.
Oh. Yes, and Angela's face during that, her stank face.
Yes, Matt said to Angela.
And Angela, before everybody here, I forgive you. Despite if you ask for it or not, I always will every single time.
Wow.
I don't know if he like knows what the word means though, because he did definitely like make some big digs at her in that speech.
So, Matt and Kenny, they're not going to campaign in the allotted time. They're going to save it all for their speeches, but it did not seem like anybody in the house was particularly moved. And neither of them seemed like that they had any particular fire under them in their speeches.
Well, no, Kenny thought he was leaving and Matt thought he was staying. Kenny was fine with it, and so was Matt.
Yeah. So, Kenny said he wants to do what's best for the game. Was that him saying that he was going to leave?
That's what it felt like. Yeah. That's the subtext that I got from it, but I don't know. That doesn't really line up with what he was saying 30 minutes ago in the DR. So like I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't think that Kenny even knows. He's been so out of the loop the entire week. I think it's I'm willing to just let him have it. Whatever.
Can we just say here for a second, like, what a dud. Really, like, you know, I was willing to suspend the disbelief of like, all right, we're going to do the undercover cop thing again. Okay. All right. I mean, this guy kind of looks like he's a cop. Okay. But this guy must be, he must be such a casting star that they had to do this again. And he's such a, that with all due respect, such a zero.
Rob, I just want to say, you never know what can come of the person that you find to be a zero on the season.
Yeah.
Then you might end up with a moment about the mafia.
I guess so. Look, maybe it's not even like, oh, I'm against, like, I don't like them because he's a police officer.
No.
No. I don't like him because he's very boring and bad TV.
Maybe what's happening is that everybody is starting to say that they're police officers in the casting because they know the casting don't do no real damn research, right? And so they're just saying, if I say that I am, that's going to get me on the show, but there's nothing substantive to really keep them on the show. You know what? I'm gonna start saying I went to Texas A&M because we're not going to check that shit. So like, that's how you get on the show these days, okay?
Yeah, I don't know. What did they see?
Police,
Undercover,
the Boston accent. And
but there's a lot of police officers. There's a lot of people from Boston.
I don't know, man.
How many of them are undercover, Rob?
I don't know. Is he totally just like checked out that he got there?
Rob, you know, everyone can't be Summer of Steve 2018.
Summer of Steve was, you know, Frankie Grande compared
That's what I'm saying.
to Kenny.
That's what I'm
He's
saying.
Mr. Personality.
Raising the bar. Not every old guy cop is going to give us the intense personality of Summer of Steve.
Yeah. All right. Well, I would have been thrilled. I would have liked it if Matt would have won the AI comp and that they could have voted out Kenny, because at least Matt was bringing something to the table here.
See, this is where I disagree, though, because I think the failure of the first half of this episode was just how far they're going out of their way to edit around Matt and make him the hero of the story. And if he stayed and we continued to get such a lopsided edit,
it was playing with fire. I get it. I understand. But just what is the upside here to keep Kenny around?
Listen, we got 14 other players. Kenny can slide into the background and we can focus on those 14 players. I'd much rather have that than Matt standing in front of those 14 players.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Let's get to the votes tonight. Okay. Couple of interesting votes to talk about. We had Kimo voted to evict Matt. Lisa comes into the diary room and...
My vote is for Kenny.
You vote to evict Kenny?
I vote to evict Kenny.
Really? We don't even know what to say?
That to me was very much like, Julie, like, they did tell you that they're voting out Matt. You're voting. Okay. All right.
Julie wants to vote with the house. Okay.
Yeah. Then we had everybody else, sadly or not so sadly, voting to evict Matt. Maggie, any other votes stand out to you?
Well, yes. Our dear friend Zach Wertenberger got another stray tonight from our other friend Quinn. You know, how hysterical. I hope if you're watching this and you're on BB27, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. You know, so good.
He said beat you, Zach?
Yep.
Yes.
I didn't
beat you
catch
too.
I said exactly this.
Beat you too, Zach.
That's rude. That's rude.
Rob, it gets better. It gets better because Zach went on Twitter and he tweeted out an image where he's actually had an email exchange with Quinn in the past in 2023. I assume that this came from a request by Quinn. He was, I assume, trying to find Dan Giesling's How a Normal Guy Got Cast on Reality Television.
Yeah, let's see. Enhance.
It's hard to find
Biggest
that book
mistake
nowadays.
of my life. Okay.
Yes. And Zach went ahead and sent Quinn a pirated copy of Dan Giesling's book. In 2023, which then allowed Quinn to get cast on the show and then go on to say,
Beat you too, Zach.
So Zach has said, this is the biggest mistake of my life.
Will these Big Brother contestants stop bullying Zach Wertenberger?
No,
I mean, Zach is getting the last laugh, okay? Even with Corey, because now he's been on 2 seasons of Big Brother, okay?
That's true.
Last time I checked, Corey was only on 1.
it's truly like that meme of Nene being like, now why am I in it? Like, that's truly how I felt for poor Zach tonight.
Mhm.
I mean, he should have known that was coming with this response. Like, you are a gentleman and a scholar. Most sincerity, Quinneth. That just sounds like somebody who is just not serious. This person is very unserious, okay?
Yeah. He's probably been the star in the diary room so far.
For sure.
Yeah, he had another one with Kenny that was funny also tonight.
Man, Maddie's so cool. I gotta put him first over me, my family, my food truck.
He is ahead of the food truck, I believe. Because at least Matt exists.
Why am I in it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Matt, you are evicted from the house. Long goodbye with McKenzie.
Oh, gosh.
Julie asked the question later. What did you whisper to McKenzie?
And
What
then he
did you
lost the
tell
train
her?
of thought.
Yes.
She had to ask him again.
He basically said, our story's not over, Aman. Battle back?
Look,
We're interviewing him tomorrow, so probably not.
I am not like I don't know. I'm not opposed to having him in the house longer and for this to proliferate. I'm really not, because this showman to me is actually kind of like cringy in the best way possible. I kind of like the train wreck of it all that I can't look away. So like, I'm kind of actually sad that we don't get to see where this goes, because I feel like McKenzie was just going to continue to play hard to get. He was going to continue to embarrass himself, and I was going to love to watch the entire thing. So I'm kind of miffed, to be honest.
That portion of it would have been over in a week, and they would have been hanging out in the HOH room for half the season. And you know, but Rob, what I loved about this exchange is that Julie asked him, "What did you say?" And he says, "I told her that our story wasn't over." And then Julie gave the facial reaction equivalent of this.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
She's like,
Story's not over yet. Taran, what do you think happens with McKenzie after this, as far as BB26 is concerned?
well, we saw her at the end of this episode. She's vowing vengeance. They're going to do it for
Interesting.
Matt.
Rob, I thought Rob was like, what do you think happens for Matt and McKenzie? I was like,
well,
Rob?
I think it really, this will depend. I'll tell you what's going to happen. If McKenzie makes the jury, probably nothing. And if she doesn't make the jury, I think that they're like all over Instagram and social media.
They'll be battling Jag on TikTok Live.
Yeah.
Basically, there's two general paths. There's like, oh, the first boot gets completely forgotten and nobody ever talks about them. Or you know, there's like the Gina Marie, and she could be you know, keeping or I guess you could also say now more recently the Matt, where you can be talking about that person for
Q-tip shrine for Matt.
Q-tip shrines, and then once you get out of the season, you say, "Oh yeah, I never really liked her anyway. I don't even know what you're talking about."
I feel like they both have short enough attention spans that this is just going to fizzle. We might see a little something at the reunion, and that'll be about it.
Maybe I wouldn't be surprised. Like, do we see Matt with any other pre-merge Big Brother contestants anytime soon?
Probably.
Mark
I
that
would
one.
assume so.
Okay. All right. Matt comes out and talks to Julie. All right.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling? And he talked about how, like, well, I just came here because, I had my story. I was here about something bigger, and I was here to tell that story. I didn't really get that story. Matt, sorry to Matt.
I mean, he only really told it to Angela, from what I remember.
But if you watch the live feeds at that exact moment that he said it, you got
it. Right, you got it. And I don't think he really tried to talk about it too much with anybody else. So it's like, I mean, not to like,
and, Taran probably retold it on one of the live feed updates.
Well, I did say that he said it, but I don't know that I retold it.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
I mean, look, I'm not here to besmirch anybody's, life journey and whatever it is that they want to share with us on the show. But I don't know.
No, but go to play.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like
be there for the right reasons.
And for you to pull it out only when you are in trouble, I'm like, I don't know about that. That feels a little slimy.
You want to tell your story? Write a book.
Yeah, exactly.
But go into the Big Brother house and play Big Brother. And if you win, we'll know it.
Yeah. I think just like Matt should have been on Love Island, just like straight up. And I also don't think that he will never be on Love Island after this. He's so handsome, has proven that he brings the drama on reality TV.
The Challenge, Love Island.
Yeah, he's got a huge future ahead of him. Oh, you're right. On The Challenge, they would love him there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you around, Matt.
We'll see you. We'll see you. Yeah.
We'll see you.
The story's not over, Maggie.
It's not. And you know what? I'm happy for it. I'll see Matt. I'll see him there. I'll be watching. He's great.
Well,
you should just start selling crazy ass shirts before Angela starts.
Yeah. You should get in on it. All right. Well, Taran, he talked about he shouldn't even be here. He's just a normal guy. Did he too read Dan Giesling's book?
I mean, I would like to know how that normal guy got cast on reality television.
I have to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't know, maybe I'm completely off base here, but was Matt's Southern accent that thick in the house? Like as thick as it was when he was talking to Julie at the end? Did you notice
it?
I didn't even catch that there was any Southern in there.
I felt like he was really on it just a little bit more than I had ever heard him before.
Yeah,
like
the show really did try to push this narrative that Matt is a Southerner. This was pushed very hard. In the diary room, he referred to himself as I'm just a Georgia boy.
Yeah.
I mean, is he not?
I guess so, but I don't know. I just wonder, does he refer to himself that way in real life?
It seems to be part of his identity, I think.
I feel like it's just one of those, it's like a symptom of casting. I feel like, that's the archetype that they put you in. And I feel like sometimes with recruits that are just excited to just be on the show, they just regurgitate whatever it is that the casting team has given them, because that's what's gotten them this far. So I'm sure he's proud of being from Georgia or whatever, but I would doubt that it's as big of an identity as it might come across on the show.
Yeah. Did he inherit the Jasmine, Blindside Butterbeans writer and Red's writer? Yeah.
I was really not thinking about that in a year. Wow.
Jasmine, my beloved. Yeah. How long?
Matt, we're going to need you to do all the Southern jokes that we have.
Blindside Butterbeans.
Okay. Anything else about Matt's conversation with Julie?
No.
Love one another.
Love one another.
Rob, wanted to go back in the episode, though, to when Kimo won the AI competition. I was so excited for him. I was really, really excited
nice
for
moment.
him. He really has, since we did the roundtable on Tuesday and getting to see his DRs the past 2 days, he's really, really grown on me. And I was really rooting for him hard. And it was really nice to be able to see him do this for himself, like show that he is a competitor, show that, you know, like even the confidence boost this hopefully will give him moving into the week. I'm just really excited for him.
Yeah. Can Kimo bounce back? We've seen where, you know, the big story of the week 1 nominee who then goes on to have a great run. Could that be Kimo?
Yeah, I was talking about this earlier that, like, you know, we talked a lot about the week 1 nominees who face a vote, basically never go on to win the game until Taylor in the US. But like, does that translate given this AI arena twist? Because there's 3 people. Kimo didn't spend the week as one of the 2 people that might leave. He mostly spent the week as the guy that was locked safe, and one of Kenny or Matt is going to leave. So I don't know that he had many of the same like negative ramifications of staying on the block all week long. And then when it came down to it, he never did end up facing the vote. It's almost as though he won the veto just kind of late, which, you know, Steve Moses won the veto in week 1 to save himself and went on to win the game. So it feels like there's a lot of things going for him to counteract the typical stigma of being a week 1 nominee. So I don't know. I feel like he might not be starting from as bad a place as he might have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think anybody would want to put him up. You know, like I don't think that there's anybody because it would be easier, right? Because he's already been on the block before, so it's like the whole like, you know, don't get blood on your hands thing. But everyone was like so happy for him to have won. That feels like I'm safe too, right, guys? They're like, yeah. Like I don't think they're going to want to put him right back up after this.
Yeah. So let's talk about some potential week 2 HOH options. Taran, I know you've talked a lot about this week that there are a lot of people who are potentially going to throw the HOH, and maybe people are just talking a big game and that they can't help it when the actual competition starts. But who do you think is actually going for the HOH?
Not as many people as you would assume, but I do think T-Core will be gunning for it. She mentioned specifically that she would be gunning for it. She encouraged Kimo to as well, though he seemed a little bit less gung-ho about it. I think that he probably would, given the fact that he spent the week on the block. I think that beyond that, you definitely will have like Lisa, McKenzie, Leah, I think probably gunning for it, given that they're probably very insecure about their own positions in the game right now. And so then you have players like Tucker, who's going to be very like, you know, I don't think Tucker strikes me as the kind of guy that's going to be feeling like he wants to throw. We know that Quinn does. We know that the 3 Cs, Chelsea, Cam, and Cedric want to throw. So it'll be interesting. And definitely if too many people are thinking they want to throw, they could be throwing it right into the hands of McKenzie, Lisa, or Leah, which may or may not be good for them at this point.
And if that were to happen, is Angela the number 1 target?
I believe she would be for Lisa and McKenzie. But you know, does she remain the target is the question.
Right.
I think she's like the initial instinct of like, of course we want to get back at Angela, but Angela doesn't really have any allies right now. Like she doesn't really have the house. And if people are able to recognize that, they might quickly realize maybe we should be taking shots at, you know, players with a stronger power base.
Yeah. Maggie, what do we have to do to appease the Big Brother gods for Angela to stay safe this week?
We need to get that water that was charged under the moon. Where did it go?
Oh.
Somebody dumped it out. That's what we need.
Gone.
Oh man, that was what Rob. It's been a long time since we've had somebody like Angela, and we can't lose her this quick. I know you said last night, like, these people, they burn bright, they burn hot, and they flame out, and we cannot let this happen. We have not had a cracked old person on Big Brother for a really long time. And I mean,
in fairness, that we just had Felicia last season.
Very different energy.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, Rob, I think there is a serious danger for Angela, regardless of who wins HOH, and that's because of this America's veto situation. Given the current edit, if McKenzie was to use the America's veto, you have to assume that Angela is the top result of like somebody who might go up.
Yes, but Taran, I feel like that the chances of that veto getting used soon are probably, I know it expires after week 4, but is McKenzie going up on the block for anybody? Like what would be, you think so?
A decent amount, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if her or, Kenny or Lisa or Leah don't win, she's definitely a prime candidate, I would say.
Yeah, anybody that's in the BS alliance, but also in the more powerful alliances would definitely put one of them up, if not both of them, if they were in power, for sure.
Yeah, I guess my question is like, are there any players in the house that people are targeting because they're actually like threats?
I mean, I know that there's like been a little bit of talk about between Brooklyn and Quinn about like being on the bottom of the Pentagon alliance. So like, yeah, I don't know whether or not that's like too big of a swing this early. I feel like both of them would probably say that it is. So I don't necessarily know if Cedric or Cam or Chelsea would ever be targeted this early, but they're definitely on the radar at least. So,
okay, all right. I want to invite the chat to ask some of their questions. That the chat has been abuzz, that the feeds have come back. Taran, are we expecting the HOH comp soon?
I'm not sure. So it did seem like the AI arena competition was taking place in what they would call the basement, which I assumed meant that they could have the HOH competition ready to go in the backyard. But that does not appear to be the case. The feeds have come back and they're waiting on the HOH competition. So it could be any time. It could be an hour. It could be more. It could be less in terms of when they end up competing. Okay, I'm being told in the chat that they were told 8 p.m. Eastern. So about 45 minutes from now, sounds like they will compete. Feeds will probably be down for an hour or two. HOHs usually don't take as long because they're not usually individually timed, but you never know for sure.
Yeah.
But I assume we will know at some point late tonight.
And as far as the comps go, Aman, I have to give them credit for the AI arena because that was a very good performance for, I'll say now, a big budget production.
Yeah, definitely high, lofty budgets went into this. I enjoyed this a lot. Now, a piece of me is like, now, was this too good? Now they're just going to pretty much just scoop out that comp and then just put in another comp in the exact same room. That could definitely be a thing. We'll see. But for right now, I'll take what I can get. And I liked it. I thought that the comp was fairly equitable. We could kind of see the strategy of which all of them took. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was nice.
Yeah. I saw this question asked on Twitter earlier tonight. Did they have a plan for if everybody was wrong? What would they have done? Given it to the person who had the most?
Second highest.
Yes, it was ranked in order of who appeared the most amount of times, and so whoever chose the person who was there the most and the fastest time would have won.
Okay. Do we know that Kimo picked the person who was there the most times?
It sounded to me like Julie said that Quinn was the correct number one answer. Yeah.
Okay.
And he, I think, also locked in first for what it's worth.
All right. Let's then take some questions from our chat. Okay. Puya wants to know, Aman, why are you dressed like Kenny was tonight?
Aman has left the frame.
Aman is catching strays just like Zach Wertenberger.
I mean, to be fair, he is not wearing a hair hat.
Yeah.
He also isn't wearing any sleeves.
Yes.
No, neither am I.
For those not watching.
Neither am I.
Okay. All right.
Oh, look, Aman's back. Yeah, I don't know what.
He changed. He changed.
Damn.
Okay.
I will say it's a strange night for Puya to be throwing shade, given that he just lost his 5th straight draft pick in Big Brother seasons.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Now hold on. Does my pick of the 17th house guess?
Being
Does that just
shady,
not
are
count?
we?
Yeah.
I think your pick never
technically
existed.
lost.
Never
Yeah,
existed.
that never existed. Okay.
Okay.
So
All right. Fair enough. All right.
Shady.
Here's a question from Pixel Toonbite. What do you think about everybody locking in their answer with so much time remaining?
Was there a lot of time remaining?
Well, I thought it was maybe because it was like, okay, well, if the tiebreaker is like who buzzes in soon. So once one person went, I think they all went.
Yes, it was a rush to like, okay, if one person is answering, I want to go answer it before them if possible. Because yeah, I mean, if they all answer the same, it will come down to time. And so if they felt confident enough to make their guess, then they want to make sure they get it in before the others.
Okay.
Yeah.
Morph 147 says, who do we want to win HOH for Team Good Feeds? Maggie?
Lisa!
I think you're right.
Go!
Yeah.
Lisa will be targeting Angela. This was not in the episode.
Oh, no, I don't like that.
There's lots of chances, Rob. There's
Okay.
I don't think that
Angela
Angela's
can win
done
the AI
so.
arena.
She
Yeah.
could win the veto. She could win the AI arena. People could not want to vote her out. You know, like
but
there's lots of...
even with her winning, like I feel like with like Angela being the target, rather, I feel like Lisa, watching her try to campaign for herself to get off the block, and then watching the way that she was talking when she won that veto, her as it's the proper rev up to HOH-itis. Like her as HOH, no matter who the target is, it's going to be a crap show. Okay, so definitely Team Lisa for HOH.
Okay. Maggie, could you weigh in on Lisa's glasses that she wore during the eviction?
They kind of resemble, I have like several pairs of sunglasses right here on my desk. They sort of resemble like tiny vibe, you know? Hers have like little fairy wings that mine don't.
Yeah, it's like a dragonfly landed on her nose.
She's a glitter girl, you know? She's making sure that the toilet is nice and full of glitter by the time the night ends, based off of all of the edible glitter she's been giving the house guests. She's got to keep up with all of that persona everywhere.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the questions. Where do we expect Leah to fall now that Matt is gone? Justine wants to ask.
A lot of people want to work with Leah.
Yeah.
The only reason that they aren't is because she's been so tied to Matt and McKenzie. With Matt gone, I think people will be starting to sort of like try to be pulling her in. And I think from what I'm seeing right now, that's already happening, that people are already going to Leah being like, so
Wow.
Leah, how you feeling after being left out of that vote?
She looks just like since I've seen her, I've been trying to place who she looks like. And she looks just like the actress who played Katie in the new Mean Girls musical movie. If you look her up,
Not Busy Phillips.
I can see it.
Angori something. She looks freaking identical to her. I just had to say that.
I've had the thought that she has a very familiar and classic face as well, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I don't necessarily know if that's who I was thinking of in the recesses of my mind, but I definitely agree for sure.
Angori Rice is what they're saying in the chat.
Okay.
Yes.
By the way, we didn't talk about this on last night's show, Taran, but what do we think about Mr. Announcer Man? This is how he's describing Leah.
It came down to two seniors and a chubby chaser.
I mean, do seniors and chubby chasers go together? Like, I feel like...
Yeah.
I mean, brutal. Right? I mean, like, gone are the days of Virgin King, right? Like, we are getting harsher and harsher.
I mean, she brought it up, okay?
Yeah.
I'm more talking seniors, because, like, geez.
Yeah.
Oh.
This was back when the show was on at 9:00. Yeah.
Taryn, Shirley said cracked old people earlier. 50 is not old, but
what is the definition of a senior? Is it 65 and above in the States?
yes.
I believe so.
You can get your AARP card.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah, they're about 15 years off.
Lauren wants to know how long until Matt is on God 101? Oh, I think imminent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Will Matt's mom be with him for God 101?
I was surprised they didn't start recording an episode as soon as he walked out, to be honest.
They might.
She's like, just keep the cameras rolling. we'll get this done.
Yeah. Okay. Neil wants to know, how much trouble is Joseph in for his voting comments?
What were his... Wait, I missed his voting comments. What did he say?
I didn't think he said anything particularly out of left field in the voting booth. He said, he started off, he's like, "What up, fam?" And then he said, "We're not doing it like other seasons."
Oh, yeah. I was wondering what he was about to do, because when he said there was like, "Oh, so are you not voting with the house? Are you going to intentionally throw a hinky vote?" Because that's also like other seasons. So I wasn't really sure what he meant by that.
He's been big on not letting bros run the season. So I believe that is what he is referring to.
Okay. I don't think he's going to get in trouble for that. Maybe if he didn't come out of the hallway when he was supposed to, maybe they'll get mad at him for that.
Yeah.
Okay. RB says, odds of Matt writing Mackenzie's HOH letter.
We can only hope.
And this is the thing. I'm not somebody who hates showmances. Like, genuinely, I love a slow burn.
Not like
showman.
Taylor.
I think that it's fun. I thought the Taylor Joseph showmance on her season was so fun.
No, she hates showmances.
No. I know. I listened last night, but there's a difference between a slow burn showmance and a schmoopy talk showmance.
Maggie, you're preaching to the choir.
And Matt and McKenzie are the definition of a schmoopy talk showmance. We don't need any part of that. Goodbye.
Yeah. Okay. Up and Adam was who from Puya's draft team will be eliminated next?
I believe he has Leah and Quinn.
Oh, okay. Well, let's hope. Let's hope he breaks the curse.
So watch out, Leah.
Let's not hope he breaks the curse. Let's hope that the curse is like really. Let's curse him to the end of the world. Okay.
Yeah.
For those that weren't there, Puya's entire 4-person draft team was eliminated 1, 2, 3, 4 in Big Brother Canada 12, and then he just got the first boot of this season as well. So honestly, if he manages 1, 2, 3 in this season, I feel like we just have to give him the win at that point. Like, he has truly shot the moon.
That's good news. Yeah.
That would be a crazy turn of events for the season in general, too. Like, Leah and Quinn. I mean, Leah.
They got him on.
Oh, Puya muted him.
Puya, let him on talk. Come on. That's rude. His power. He had the deep fake podcast guest power. Okay. I said goodnight, Aman. Oh, wow. That's rough. Okay. All right.
Be silent.
All right. Let me see if I got one more question from the chat tonight. And Not Knee Brass says, are there any HOH winners, worst case scenarios that could trigger Quinn to use his power?
I don't think so. I feel like Quinn is basically pretty well insulated, not the most insulated player right now, but I don't necessarily, with the exception of maybe if Tico or Quinn ended up on the block, maybe I could see him stepping in. But other than that, I feel like he's probably okay to try to save it for himself.
Yeah, like basically the two main paths for HOH this week are to target Lisa, McKenzie, and maybe a side of Leah or Kenny. And then on the other side, it would be like targeting Angela with maybe Joseph up there. And then, from there, it gets a little wonky, but probably not Quinn, probably not anybody that Quinn particularly cares about. And I think he cares about Joseph, but not enough to use the power to save Joseph, especially if like there's other targets up there that he could try to get onto. So I would guess at this point, not super likely. But you never know.
Okay. Anything else we want to cover here for Thursday night as we turn our attention to week 2?
Let's keep it going, baby.
Let's keep it going.
Let's let the good times roll.
Yeah.
I'll say it. I think that like two of the biggest issues Big Brother has had with their game for the last decade have been twists and competitions. And for this week at least, the twist worked the way it should have worked, and it ended up being good. And the competitions have been equitable and good. And the result of that has been a good week of Big Brother. And so I hope that this continues.
Wow. Okay.
Positivity.
Look what you manifested, Big Brother.
It's all that moon water.
The moon water.
Yeah, I mean, not to be all negative one here, but like I'm still like so reluctant on really giving them the full 10s because I'm still pissed about the feeds. But it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right. Well, let's talk about what else we've got coming up, okay? Week 2 is kicking off into high gear. Of course, last night, it came up on the show last night. The RHAP Brat shirt is here. You can get it at robinswebsite.com/RHAP Brat, okay? You too can be a brat out in public. All right. Make sure you're subscribed to Rob Has a Podcast and our Big Brother podcast feed. You can do so at robinswebsite.com/BB26. You can leave us great reviews like the one we got last night about what a great performance this is for a low-budget podcast. Please check that out and make sure you don't miss anything we have coming up your way. Friday will be a big day. We'll have our exit interview coming up with Matt. Then Taran and Puya will be live for the live feed update. That's at noon on Friday. And then Taran and I will be taking calls from the patrons once again. If you're a patron and you want to call in, we had a great time last Friday. You could do so at robinswebsite.com/patron. We'll send the patrons the link to call in later on tonight. Kelly Wentworth joined us over on Claim to Fame this week, Maggie, and it was a very fun recap of what's been a wild season of Claim to Fame so far.
I haven't gotten the chance to watch this week's. So no spoilers.
No spoilers, of course not.
You know the way that I feel about Claim to Fame. I love it. I love the podcast. You and Jenny are just so fantastic. I have so much fun with it. Yeah, really fun to get to catch up with Kelly. She has a particularly great joke towards the end of the podcast. So definitely check out this recap of Claim to Fame once you check out the episode. And then Aman, what's coming up over on RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars?
Yes, the finale is going to be airing on Paramount Plus in a matter of hours. So Liana, Beth, and I will be getting together to go over who's going to be the eventual 9th winner of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars. So make sure you check that out when it comes next week. Okay. And then I told you about everything that's coming up with the BB Q&A. We will have the slop with Chappelle coming. We had a really fun first slop of the season. We're going to be actually live for the slop on Sunday. It's going to be a big Brother night coming up on Sunday. Chappelle and I will have the slop at 7 p.m. for the patrons, and then we will go into the episode at 9, followed by a recap after that. So make sure you're set up to watch the slop. We can only put it in the patron feed. We wanted to put it in the main feed, and we couldn't. We're not allowed. Patron only. robhasawebsite.com/patron. All right. Let's talk about what else is coming up. Maggie, what's going on for you? Oh, been very busy this week with Big Brother. I will be seeing you, Taran, on Sunday. I'll be joining you for the live feed update. I'm recording another podcast. I will be upcoming on the 50 season countdown for Survivor. I don't know if I am allowed to say which season I'm doing, but an interesting one. Can't wait to talk to Mike about that, and that'll be coming out sometime in the next couple of weeks. I'm just loving Big Brother season. It's been it's my happy place, especially when we're getting content like this. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at @MLMorgan_. Yeah. This is a great panel tonight because we have 3 people here who really appreciate the reason for the season. Yes. Okay. Great to have you back here with us, Maggie, tonight. Aman, what's coming up for you? So I just mentioned Drag Race, so make sure you're checking that out. Matt, Lugray, and I have gone on a new venture of Big Brother. We're calling it the Diary Room, a Big Brother bracket where 6 players go in each episode, 3 players come out. Gauntlet style. It's going to last for the next multiple years until we determine who the best Big Brother winner is, depending on whatever that ends up meaning. So it's been a lot of fun. We've had America on, Corey, Chappelle, some familiar faces with RHAP, some really exciting upcoming guests. So you can check that out as well. And that is it for me.
Great job, Aman. Multiple wardrobe changes here in this episode. So good to have you back on the Eviction Night recap. And then Taran,
Find me
busy
on
night
Twitch.
for you. Yep.
Yes, I'll be watching episodes. I'll be streaming with some feeds and hanging out with some plushies. And we have getaway coverage. We have scripted show coverage. House of the Dragon has 2 episodes left. Plenty of things to keep up with. So keep up with it.
Yeah. Only 2 episodes left. Don't miss what Taran has to say about House of the Dragon at robisawebsite.com/scripted. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight for Eviction Night number 1. Nice to be back here on a Thursday. It's a different energy, the Thursday show. A lot of
For sure.
excitement.
It's so exciting. It's my favorite time. I get chills every time.
Yeah.
Except for when Devon went home 3 times.
All right. So we'll be back to talk about it on Sunday night for the next episode recap. Until then, take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye. And this is something new. We're showing this screen at the end where you can click on one of these videos to watch what else we have coming up here on Rob Has a Podcast. So keep it going.
Love one another.